Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the CEO, President, and co-founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios. We're a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. We love artificial intelligence and quantum computing, and we want to make a dent in the universe. I've been involved in 17 startups and several unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion. I'm also the co-founder of Eva.ai, which was recently acquired by Vizier in Canada. So great to be here today, and I'm going to introduce an incredible founder. So Emile Munyangabe is a serial entrepreneur. He is a experienced executive. He's done technical, was a lead software development. I mean, he's done a lot of different things. His company is Wazo Plus, and I'd like to introduce Emile to you. Hi, Emile. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate having me on the show.
So tell me a little bit about it. So you're now how in the world? So where are you today? You in Madison?
Yes, I'm in Madison, Wisconsin. Yep.
Isn't it cold there? Like, be honest with you. I was in there in the wintertime. I used to come out there and do
Yeah.
work. I don't know about you, but I felt like a walrus. You know what I mean? It felt real cold. Is it
Yeah.
cold wintertime?
Yeah. I mean, it's a cold state, and so right now we are September 13, and we probably have maybe a month that we can start really feeling a little bit more cold. So our summers really goes short. It's like a 2 month stop. So yeah.
And so you were in Quincy, Mass. By the way, I love Quincy because if you want to eat lobsters, it's one of the places very close to there that you can get some of the most amazing clam bakes on the planet Earth. By the way, and so tell me a little bit about it. So you went to Eastern Nazarene College. You got your bachelor's degree in computer engineering. How did you where's Eastern Nazarene? Is that located in Massachusetts? Is it near Cambridge?
It's not really near Cambridge. It's like a little bit south, and it's in a city called the Quincy.
Yeah,
Uh,
Quincy. Okay.
yep.
So I was because when you got out of school, university, Eastern Nazarene, you went to Cambridge, right? So you did your system administrator internship in Cambridge. Then you went to Quincy. Why Quincy, by the way? Because why did you decide? How did you I don't know. People said, "Oh, I'm going to Quincy, Mass." But how did you decide on Quincy as a place to go?
Yeah, I don't think I really had a choice or something, but so I used to live in Maine, Portland, Maine, and then I decided to move down to Massachusetts. I was really trying to figure out what to do. That was my area years here in America, and a friend of mine went to school in Eastern Nazarene College, and he was like, "Yo, maybe you should come here. There is a good." Scholarships, and I played a little bit of soccer there, a little bit, and that's pretty much. I went there because of the opportunity came,
Emil, did
and
you get a scholarship for soccer?
yeah, I did get a half of. So the college is a little bit private, or really pricey. So I got a little bit of money off from playing, but I quickly did not really play as I kind of quit that and had to do some jobs to fill in the gap on the money payment and things like that.
Wow, that's great. And so you did that. You worked at Eastern Nazarene at the help desk,
Yeah.
and you went to this care.com IT support coding house,
Mhm.
a lot of technical work, and then you went to Folsom, California.
Yes. Yeah.
How did that happen?
I was on a few years. I was in Massachusetts on the East Coast, working for a startup company called Care.com. It's a beautiful company, really great, a place to work. And I was really in my early stage of my IT career. And then I moved I moved to the West Coast when the boot camps, coding boot camps was popular. It was becoming an opportunity to jump into development space, and so I moved to I relocated to Fremont, California. Uh, uh, being part of a boot camp, a very it's also kind of an accelerator program for people trying to get into development and things like that. And then my first job out of the boot camp was out in Folsom, California, which is really in Sacramento, for a retail company.
Wow, that's interesting. And how did you like California?
I still want to move back. I love California. I think it's a beautiful place. Primarily for the weather, because the weather it suits my personality. It suits where I came from. Where I'm from Rwanda, in East Africa, so it really suits the weather. And yeah, and I have also the entrepreneurship part of people in California, and the close proximity to Silicon Valley, where you can really meet amazing innovators and awesome ideas and things like that.
So you're from Rwanda originally.
Correct. Yep.
Now, how is it? Like, it's just curious. I mean, it's like I know that there's a lot of conservation work done there, right? It must be beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If I would actually encourage you to visit, to visit one day, because it's a beautiful place. There is obviously we do have some crazy history, just like any other nations around the world, but the
Mhm.
developments are really quickly catching up. And talking about technology and startups, there is a really awesome movement going on. And going on the nature side, there is awesome stuff to explore as a tourist, and also as a person just trying to learn the country.
I see these videos of people with the mountain gorillas, and they like to have their hand outstretched, and the gorilla touches their hand. I don't know about you, but that would be pretty scary. They're huge, you know, and uh, and it's just beautiful, actually, just a beautiful, beautiful scene. That's so incredible, and it must be interesting to see that kind of wildlife all the time, right?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. But I will tell you one thing: I've never really experienced wildlife while I was in Africa, and I think that's really common for most people who come from Africa. But what everybody thinks is that the wildlife is really nearby everyone,
It's not
right?
nearby, yeah.
It's not really,
How
it's not
far,
really.
like to go to see these mountain gorillas and stuff? How far is it away?
It could be a couple of hours away, right? It could be a couple of hours away.
You're not walking down the street. Oh, there's a mountain gorilla on the side of the road, right? It's not like a deer or where you are a moose, right? You just don't see them that much.
For me, I kind of grew up in a city in Chigari. It's a
Mhm.
very populated city. Um, and there's no chance you can see animals, wild animals. But if you go a few hours away, in a village, or outside of the city, yes, you can definitely see animals. And
Have you ever
especially.
I mean, have you ever gone out and just for the heck of it? Because it would be, I do that all the time. I lived in Pennsylvania in the mountains, and
Yes.
we had bears and bobcats and all kinds of things. Did you ever do that? Just take a trip and say, I just want to go see this beautiful place and check it out. Have you ever done that or not?
It's a list. It's on my list to do. To be honest, it's on my list to
Really?
do.
Oh
Yep.
man, I want to go with you. I want to see this stuff too. I love that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So you stayed out in California. You were at Retail Pro as a SQA automation engineer. So why did you go back to Wisconsin then? Or why did you go? Like, did you like one day go up and say, I like cheese and I want to move to Wisconsin? Or what happened?
I mean, that's a great question right there, because actually at the time I didn't even know much about Wisconsin. But so I was in California and I loved it, but again I felt like I wanted to explore more, about different areas of the United States, and just really trying different things. And also at the time, there was one of my family members moved here in the US, and I wanted to be closer. So I was like, let me move and explore different things. So that's pretty much it. And I just really chose Wisconsin out of the blue. So I didn't have many reasons to, but yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, what do people do in Wisconsin for fun, by the way? I was there, it was like, I don't know, a little bit boring, but what do people do? What's a fun thing? Do you go skiing? Do you tobogganing? What do you do for fun?
So there is what people do, what other people do here for fun, and there's what I do, right? So that's two different things, right? For a lot of people in Wisconsin, obviously, I mean, Madison, where I live in Madison, there's a beautiful lakes.
Well, it's like a
Uh,
university city, right? It's a beautiful city, correct?
yes, it's a beautiful city. There is this university, UW Madison, and it has really amazing sports teams, and everyone is really rooting for the teams, wearing red on Sundays. So it's an awesome atmosphere to be around the college city. But for me, I enjoy your walks. There's a really nice, beautiful natures here, and getting into the community and hanging out with people.
That's great. Wow, that's amazing. Well, it sounds like a great life. So, okay, you went down through, you did batteries plus bulbs. You were a lead software developer. Brooks Running, that must have been interesting. And then how did you come up with Wazo Plus? What was the idea behind that?
Yeah, so the idea really came out of a frustration, a little bit of not having a spot to an online spot to learn what's happening on the continent, and really having to do a lot of googling, right? Different places, going on LinkedIn, going on YouTube, or the social media places, or other platforms, and not really feeling that there is a tailored solution to see what's happening on the continent. So that's really where Wazopla's idea came from, and it was also kind of a shared kind of frustration. So I asked my friends, hey, when you want to catch up with what's happening on the continent, where what's your go-to place? But most people, they come on blank, or they say a whole different responses, right? So I was like, hey, there is an opportunity to create, a platform that can kind of really bring in the conversations on different topics in one place, and with also the ability to really have a modern technology around it, to make it easier for people to browse what's happening. So that's pretty much what the idea came from, and a little bit of the solutions.
That's amazing. And so, there's incredible growth on the continent. There's most people don't realize there's 1.4 billion people in 54 countries, right? So, how does it feel when you look back? I mean, you grew up there. How different is it now compared to when you were there?
I think that's a very interesting question. And everyone, whether you were born on the continent and whether you left 2 years ago or 5 years ago or something like that, anytime you go back, you see changes and big changes, right? So it's a continent that is fast growing, that is adopting technology and other really amazing stuff. So we've been behind. The continent, African continent, has been behind for so long, and at the moment it's trying to do some catch ups, and with that there's a really fast growth. So there is a lot of things that have changed and that continues to change, but obviously the internet access, the access to technology, has really enabled that growth, which is really amazing.
Do you go back much? Do you go back to see? Do you have family there? Do you go back and see your family?
Yeah, I go back as much as I can. I've went back probably twice in the last year, and I'm looking to do that more, especially with the Wazo Plus business, because I need to do a lot of partnerships and working with local partners and things like that.
Must be interesting, incredible. And how to treat you? How do people treat you when you come back? Do they ask you about, are there wild animals in Wisconsin? Do they ask you?
Yeah, it's the funny thing is that like I said, technology has really enabled easier access to what's happening on the other side of the world, so people can really are learning what's happening in other countries just in a second, right? They open up their apps and they just change regions, and that they start seeing stuff, right? But also there's a difference from being there and also looking at virtual sense of things. So yeah, but people, they are happy. Obviously, they always looking to have a family, a member of the family back, also a member from the neighborhood back.
Mhm.
And it's just really amazing to also be able to give back, whether it's sharing stories and really, figuring out what to
How
do
is it?
to give back.
So when you come in, you come into your city. How does it feel? Like you come in as like, how do they treat you when you come in?
I think that, yeah, that's really good. So so for me, I am really, I grew up there. I came here when I was 19 years old, and I was already, I would say, one of the person in the neighborhood. So everybody sees, it's easy to really get back in the things. There's no special treatment or anything, and I
No,
like
they
that.
don't.
So
Are you, and do you go down and play soccer with them? Do they want to? Do you play soccer with your friends there?
I guess that's one thing that I need to do. I'm doing that here in Madison, but it's a cool thing because everybody's playing soccer, like
I was
kids.
going to say, where are the better soccer players, in Madison or back home?
So Madison, it's awesome because it's exactly, I'm close to that. But back home, it's also a little bit affordable, easier. You don't have to think about where. You don't have to look at schedules and things like that. You can drop at any field, and you see people playing, and you can just
You
jump
can
in.
just drop in.
Exactly.
Right. How about if you do that in Madison? Can you just walk on and say, "Hey, well, I'm coming here. I'm here."
Yeah, I mean, Madison, obviously, we have the winter coming in, right? So
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's true.
that's gonna be the first blocker, right? I'm gonna have to wait until the next summer, and the weather and all that, the timing. But also, I mean, where I live, it's awesome. Also, we have a huge African community, so which really they all love soccer. So it's easy as well.
That must be really amazing. Now, is it fascinating to you when you have I mean, there's 54 countries. I mean, you have different cultures. Are the different? How are the cultures? How different are they from Rwanda?
Yeah, that's really actually a really huge kind of perspective because, like you say, there's so many countries, different languages,
And they're
different.
big. Some of the countries are big, right? I mean, Nigeria's got what 247 million people. They're not small.
Exactly, and one country could be like 100 times more population than the other, or even hundreds of, I mean, languages. There's something. So I think, like, for example, for me, when I moved here, it opened up my kind of perspective about Africa because I got to meet people from different countries all over the places in Africa. But what I noticed, there was a lot of commonality, a lot of common things, especially on the culture side. Yes, languages, accents, totally different. Somebody might speak English, but whole different accents, but a lot of common, culture, African culture when it comes to clothing, behaviors, and other mentalities, really, which is really awesome.
No, that's great. I love it. I mean, I think it's amazing. Just an incredible opportunity. But you're right. There's a misperception, that you're going to go into Africa and you're going to see mountain gorillas or lions, or people don't understand they're on reserves, and there aren't that many of them, right, in the whole scope of things. So it's kind of interesting. All right, tell us a little bit about, so let's take us forward in terms of Wazo Plus in Africa. What do
Mhm.
you want to accomplish in Africa?
Yeah, I mean, so it's a work in a progress, and one thing I've learned is that there's so many solutions out there. There's many platforms that have great, that solves a lot of problems. But I was looking at in a unique window of really solving problems for the African market with technology that is really embedded for the African market. So, for example, one thing I've noticed. So okay, going back a little bit, I talked about like content. It's not easier to find content. There's so multiple places. It would be nice to kind of have a go-to place. But also on the other side, when it comes to businesses, there is one known fact that most brands that are known in Africa are not actually Africans. You could ask, someone, who's educated, or someone who's business oriented, what are your top 5 brands? And they will probably not name a few in from Africa, right? Or
Yeah.
you can ask another person, what are your brands, what are your favorite brands in Nigeria? They might not have a lot. But again, the issue is, most companies, most businesses, they do not have the right place to tap into the audience, to do some brands engagement and things like that. And that's where actually Wazo Plus is looking to tap into, to connect the audience with brands, to create that kind of engagement, royalty, and things like that. To bring more brand engagement to platforms that are African really oriented in terms of the technology, the and things like that. So, yep.
So what do you think in terms of like manufacturing? Fast forward in Africa. I'm just curious about it. Do you think we'll have semiconductor facilities and it'll be like China in Africa, where there'll be a lot of production? And which countries would be a good fit for that kind of stuff?
I might not have a good answer to that, but what I know is that there's already some amazing initiatives, modern industrial initiatives happening on the continent. Uh, and I know that there's a few already car manufacturing, for example, companies that are having some, offshore, or even headquarters in Africa.
Well,
Different brands. Yep.
that's interesting. Yeah, it's just there's such a huge population. There's going to be so much demand for everything.
Yes.
It's just incredible. So, what's the if you look at it? So, where are you today with the company, and where do you want to go?
Yeah, that's awesome. So basically, where we are today, we started about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, and we've started especially looking at the product side of things. Can we create a product that people want to come to,
Hmm.
that is ideal? Uh, and that's where we've been focusing at the moment. And especially, it's actually, unfortunately, it's a solo founder at the moment with a few team around, but also being part of GSD Labs, which is awesome because we are getting a lot of we are getting accelerated into the business part of things. So we are been focusing on the product, but what's next is really continuing to understand our users, especially hyper personalized content, which is on the one end is on the user, at the second end is a brand. And yeah, so that's where we are. And the other big thing that we are looking at to do is really obviously getting some more traction to the product, which means advertising, marketing, getting the word out there for people to tap into the platform.
And how many employees do you have today?
Right now we have a few. We have just 4 people, and mostly other developers, and a few in business and things like that.
Well, so you're an active CEO.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to juggle multiple tasks, but we are seeing some really good positive traction that that I believe that in the next foreseeable future, that we can actually even expand the team and be able to focus more on the business side of things as well.
That's great. So, sounds like things are moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it is. It is. For me, being part of the GSD Labs program actually has brought a lot of huge opportunities. Especially one opportunity is the validation of the idea, which is really amazing. Getting different perspective on the feedbacks from established entrepreneurs and CEOs and founders. And secondly, being able to be exposed to resources, whether it's founding resources or idea resources. So yeah, so things are kind of really going well, and looking forward to more success.
You're right about it because what happens is people start companies, but it's like Harvard. The first MBA program wasn't to teach people how to be entrepreneurs at Harvard. It was to teach managers how to manage. And in fact, they're sometimes diametrically opposed. They don't work together because risk is not a good thing for companies sometimes, right? And the kind of things we do every day, you do every day, Emile, is take risk, right?
Yes.
And you got to take calculated risk in order to be able to win. So it's so interesting how the model is starting to change. You can start to see it change, but it's got to change a lot.
Right.
So let's look at the next year. What do you want to do over the next year? What are your goals?
Yeah, that's so my primary goal is really to extend on the creative content, so original content. At the moment, the model we are going with when it comes to content is really aggregation of content, similar things to what Google News does, right? You go to Google News, they learn more about you and your previous activities, and they provide you what the type of news or content you would appreciate. So we are doing that. But on the secondary part, we are looking also to invest on creative content, which means writing more content, videos, basically creative content that also goes in the modern era of short content, things like that. So that's one thing on the content side. Secondary is really work with businesses as well. Provide so we are working on internal features to provide businesses to create custom marketing campaigns and brand engagement campaigns and things like that. And that's pretty much what is in our radar in the next few years. Obviously that's going to take a few resources, getting more people on the team and things like that.
Got it. All right. Well, I appreciate it. And any closing thoughts, Mia, for companies that are out there from Africa that want to go global? What do you have? If you could have one piece of advice, what would you say to them?
What I think I can say is that there is a bunch of opportunities back in Africa, especially opportunities that relates to the number of population that is super growing, like exponentially growing, and that is always solutions to solve, problems to solve, and there is so many things. Anyone can give back, whether you are a diaspora or somebody who moved out of Africa to different areas in the Western countries, or there's so many also partnership opportunities, also companies within here in the US. There is so many opportunities to expand in Africa, to tap into different countries, to do more partnerships. So that's pretty much my closing thought right there. And Wazo Plus, we are looking to become an enabler of information, and especially when it comes to new information, trending information, and things like that.
No, it's great. Well, you're doing a great job, and I got to say thank you for joining my show today. And to all the audience out there, thank you very much. My name is Gary Fowler, and as I said, I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Venture Studios, Premier AI and Quantum Venture Studio. If you want to go global, give us a call. Happy to talk to you. I've been doing this for a long time, almost 40 years. So I've been doing this, and I love startups. It makes me feel so good. It gives you energy, incredible energy, the vibes. So go out there and do it. Don't be afraid. Look yourself right in the eye and say, what do I really want? If you want to do it, give us a call. Also, Emile, what's the best way, if there are startups out there, they're interested in connecting to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Two ways they can follow us on Twitter, _Wazoplus, Twitter/wazoplus.com, or on email address, my first name, EMILE @wazoplus.com.
Great. Thanks. Appreciate it, Emile. Thank you. And to my audience out there, thanks for joining one more time. GSD Presents, Silicon Valley AI and Tech. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay tuned for another exciting edition coming Thursday. And stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe. Take care of yourselves and tune in again. See you later. Take care, Emile. Thank you.
Thank you.